Welcome back to the show, everybody. Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, and of course follow us on all our socials out there, the Upper Tier. It is another Shankly Sessions drive time match preview. Liverpool versus Man City at Anfield on Sunday, the Super Sunday game. A lot of jeopardy for both teams in this. For Liverpool, it's keeping up with United and Chelsea, who possibly should get wins at the weekend potentially. And making sure we're in that shake-up for that top 4, top 5 Champions League spots. For Man City, it's really trying to keep a title race alive. It's going to be a real struggle. Arsenal very, very solid at the moment. Not doing anything spectacular, but doing what we see from champions from time to time. Just getting the job done. Being very resolute in defence and scoring when the opportunity presents itself. And that's why it's kind of, as I said on the short, it's a difficult one for us as Liverpool fans. Well, we need to win. You know, we need to push on and make sure we cement the Champions League spot. So important. The flip side of that is, you would think that if Arsenal win at the weekend against Sunderland, and if City slip up against us and we win, I think that'll probably be it for the title race, I would have thought. I think you'd be looking at Arsenal being champions-elect basically in the Premier League. Darren also made a real good point last night on the show, if you haven't checked it out, on the Thursday Tier Talk as well, that Arsenal potentially will probably edge out City in the Carabao Cup as well. And if they do land the Carabao Cup, that gets that kind of that thing off their back of landing a piece of silverware. And if they were to land the Carabao Cup, does that push them on then for the rest of the season? Darren reckons, looking at where they are at the moment, that they land a Premier League and Carabao Cup double. I reckon they could do a domestic double in the Cups and the Premier League, and then have the treble, like a domestic treble. But what about the Champions League? They've been by far, I think anyway, probably the best team in the Champions League this season, the most consistent. They've also played a lovely brand of football in the Champions League as well, because while it's very different to the Premier League, where teams don't open up as much, once they open up in Europe, that's when you see Arsenal on their plum at their best, really, you know, in their pomp, as they say. But for us, it's City at the weekend. Listen, we know what the danger is. We know that we'll have to keep Haaland quiet. City have been so strange this season, haven't they, really? It's not like even last season where they just weren't winning games and stuff like that. This season, it's kind of like they're getting themselves into really, really good positions in games, you know, taking decent leads into second halves, and then just falling apart. That Spurs game the other day was something. It was just the weirdest game ever. Like, you think about Spurs and the difficulties they've had this season. You know, calls for Thomas Frank to be sacked. They've been so poor. And like, City went in 2-0 up, could have been more. Come out in that second half and just die. Like, that City team just died on that pitch. Spurs got into a rhythm, and Spurs in theory probably could have won the game. If you look at that second half performance, they had the chances. You know, when you look at City, the way they ran through that midfield, you know, you look at the drop off in that midfield, you look at Rodri, you know, who's kind of really struggled since coming back from the injury, which is not unexpected. I mean, if you've been out for a whole year and you come back in, it's going to take time, you know, to find yourself as well. And also, we've seen it with Van Dijk when it happened. You know, it takes time to find your confidence again as well. That, like, you know, you've been hobbling around for 6 months and rehabbing and doing all these things, and all of a sudden you're expected to go back out on a pitch with the mentality and the mental fortitude that, you know, the knee is good again, or whatever it is, you know. And I think that takes time to build up that confidence again, because there's always that fear going into a tackle, or, you know, going up against players that, God, you could do it again. You could be out for another year, you know what I mean? And I mean, that's the mental side of the game, coming back off a big injury like that, is you do have to mentally prepare yourself that, you know, you're not going to be quite what you are initially when you come back, and it's going to take time. You know, we know what a fabulous player Rodri is, but you also listen to the post-match stuff as well, and it's kind of weird as well. It's like they don't sound like a team at the moment. We're so used to City being that team that, like, you know, goes on these runs, will reel Arsenal in, and ultimately will win the Premier League. You look at them at the moment, and if you look on the balance of play, the way things are going, they've had a number of opportunities to close the gap, and they haven't taken it. And Arsenal at times have slightly extended the gap out there a bit. Now, in truth, if Arsenal had showed up in a number of games, they should be really out of sight. The gap should really be 11 or 12 points at this stage. And I mean, that's the fear. The fear is that you do get a couple of injuries. Seen it with Moreno now picking up that broken bone in the foot. It's probably going to rule him out for a while. And he's a big player for them, especially coming off the bench as well. He can play in a number of positions. Scores goals, creates goals. Always seems to arrive at the right moment to pick up goals as well. And so they'll definitely miss him. Now, do they have backup? Absolutely. But if you look at sometimes the goals that he has scored at times have been crucial to them, you know. But yeah, getting back to City, it feels like they're kind of clinging on to this title race by their nails, and that maybe one or two more in different results, and that could put that to bed really, you know. Whereas you look at Aston Villa, especially last week, you look at Aston Villa, 60 minutes up against 10 men, and they couldn't find a way. And if you want to be Premier League champions, in those scenarios, you find a way. So I think, looking at City, I think certainly they can be got at. I don't think Anfield at times has been a happy hunting ground for them. You know, they really struggle at times at Anfield. I think we're beginning to find a rhythm. Me, like most Reds fans, I was quite shocked at the Newcastle result. I thought we played really, really well, especially going one behind. But I think we need to be careful as well, because if we do cough up a lot of chances, the City team does have the quality to take those chances. You know, when you've got the likes of Cherky in there, and you know, Foden and Haaland and Winders, now you have Semenyo and Doku, and a lot of real quality players in that City side, who just again, probably similar to ourselves, have brought in players but also lost players throughout the season, and it's just derailed us a little bit, derailed them a little bit as well. But as Darren said last night, you know, for the likes of United and Chelsea and ourselves pushing for that top 4 spot, we should be looking to try and hunt down Aston Villa as opposed to looking within the 3 of us. So we'll see what happens. Will there be a drop off from Aston Villa? Obviously still in the Champions League. Couple of injuries, what can happen there? But certainly this game coming up is a huge game. You know, we're going to need Florian Wirtz as well, Player of the Month, and rightfully so. Has had a stellar month, and really starting to look like the Florian Wirtz that we know that's in there, and still with a big ceiling and plenty more to give. But I think that relationship between himself and Ekitike at the moment is starting to form in a beautiful way on the pitch, finding each other and stuff like that. Really, really good. The movement really, really good. And Ekitike as well, really, really finding his feet in the Premier League. I think he's been outstanding himself and Dom this season in what's been quite a shit show at times for us, you know. We've been way off where we expected to be. But can we finish the season a little bit stronger now, you know? Heading into the Champions League, FA Cup, big game coming up, and now pushing on up in the league, hopefully. So we need to build on this Newcastle result now. Go out there and show how serious we are about this Champions League spot by doing a number on Man City on Sunday. But it's a very hard one to call, as Darren said last night in the show. This is not one that you're putting in your bet. How do you figure this one out? You know, could City go out and have a really good first half again, 2-0 up, and just relent again in the second half, and Liverpool get the job done, winning 3-2? Who knows? Who knows what way this game will go? Have City got that desire in them to continue this title race, or will Liverpool kill that off and get the 3 points needed to continue in the race for the Champions League spots? And that's really what it's about. And we're going to need a lot of players in our team. I think on Sunday putting in real good performances, 8 out of 10, stuff like that. Looking at how they got ran through by Spurs, I'd have a lot of confidence that potentially the likes of Mac and Gravenberch and Dom and players like that could do a number on that City midfield. And if you can keep on doing that and get past that, then you're in on them then, and then anything can happen. I'd like to see Mo show up as well now and put in a real good performance as well. He looked very happy last week with the way he performed. The smile was back. Looked like he was back to enjoying his football. So let's see if that's an indication of where we're at. Let's see, can we bring this team together and push on for the next 3 or 4 months, see where we land. Disappointed that we didn't do an awful lot in the January window, especially to affect the team. Maybe even a couple of loan deals or something might have strengthened us a bit. Our bench is so weak, and at times this season we've even struggled to fill the bench. So we'll see what happens. Big game. Gonna go probably for a Liverpool tight win, just shaded 2-1 maybe, 2-1 maybe 3-2. I think it'll be the odd goal. Darren, I think, predicted a 2-2, because he just can't separate, because he doesn't know which version of each team is going to show up. And that's a fair comment, because most of us don't. But I'm going to put Liverpool to pick up the 3 points at home, and only shading it, I think, because they're at home. I think if that was the Etihad, I'd be going the other way. So I think it's only because of home advantage we'll probably shade it. And if we do, then depending on the Arsenal result with Sunderland, could really cement their position as Premier League champions this season, that's for sure. So let's see what happens. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what lineup you'd go with as well. Team more or less picks itself at this stage, doesn't it? I don't think there's any kind of... I think Slot's beginning to learn that you just don't necessarily mess around with the lineup at times, especially in these bigger games. But let us know your lineup, let us know your predictions, let us know how you feel the title race is going to run out, and also the race for those Champions League spots as well. Could be a case where we draw City or Villa back into the mix of the top 4 or 5 spots. Let's see what happens. As always, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video. We'll talk to you again real soon, and maybe join us. We might be doing a watch along on Sunday for the City game, so if we are, make sure you join us. We'll have a bit of crack. Cheers.